It's a driving force. I don't know what else I would do with my life. I don't think I'm capable of doing anything else. So. When I was a little kid, we'd play school because back in the days we didn't have iPhones or whatever. And of course, kids are losing the art of playing these days. So we used to play school. And when we played school, I was always the teacher. Always, always. I always wanted to explain things to people. I always wanted to help them out.
Develops 2.5 times 10 to the 3 joules. What are we talking
I feel science is the best topic on the planet. I just find it fascinating. It explains what's going on in the world, and you can bring in every single other topic. So really, I think the entire curriculum should revolve around science. In 1988, when I graduated with my teaching certificate, nobody was getting jobs in the public system. But because I had done my 2 stages in private, that's where I got 2 job offers, at Villa Maria and at Queen of Angels. So I ended up in the private system for 13 years. I did 6 years at Queen of Angels, and then I moved to Traff. Also private girls. But Traff was downtown. The commuting was getting difficult with my 3 kids being in soccer after school or whatever else. So I decided to make the jump to the public system. And all my private school friends said, "Oh my God, you can't do that. It's the public system. You're going to get eaten alive." And then I landed at St. Thomas and loved it from day one. Every single day. I just have fun with kids. When I see a light go on, like I've been trying to explain something to a kid and they weren't getting it, and then all of a sudden they do, or if I see a kid liking a certain topic that we're dealing with and possibly maybe going on into sciences and staying in the sciences, that's a huge driving force, especially with girls. The difference in the confidence levels of boys and girls, it's just incredible, and it hasn't changed in 28 years. So I'm very frustrated that in 2018 I still have girls getting 80s and 90s and thinking that they're not good enough to continue on in sciences or engineering. I've been trying for years to encourage girls to pursue whatever top level they want to get to in whatever topic, and it's still a difficult thing with girls, and I haven't succeeded. I haven't succeeded in figuring it out. I'm ADHD, which was only diagnosed when I was 38 years old because I have a child who is also ADHD. I have to move around, especially teaching high school. I think you have to be unconventional to teach high school because you're teaching teenagers when their brains are, like, they're not normal. They're not normal brains right now. They're adolescent brains. And if I look at my buddies, my colleagues here, I'm like, yeah, we're all a little different because you have to be to deal with 30 kids in a class, 4 or 5 times a day. You always, as a teacher, by the way, if you meet a kid at 12, that's the image of the kid. So even though they're sitting in your class, and you know they're 16, and you know they're on their way to becoming young adults, but it doesn't matter because in your mind you still always have this vision of them as 12 years of age. I've been teaching 15 to 17-year-olds, grades 10 and 11, for a long time now. And I just love that age group. I love the way their minds work. It's really neat to see. They're still very much kids. They think they're big, but they're not. They're still very, very much kids, but you can see the adults that they're going to become. So it's really, really neat to that their brains. I like the way their brains work. You can play with their minds a little bit more because they're not grade 7s or grade 8s. And so I sometimes say and do things that I would definitely not say or do in a grade 7 or 8 class because they're almost adults. So it's cool. It's just a neat developmental time. I did a couple of psych courses in CEGEP, and I did one psych course at McGill when I was doing my teaching certificate. It was developmental psychology from 0 to 12, and all of us were high school teachers, and we were all like, we deal with adolescents. Like, when are we going to do the 12 to 17-year-old stuff? And they said never. And I'm like, okay. So I think mostly is what they've done over the years is taught me how to, say or do something that's worked with kid number 1, and I say or do it with kid number 2, and kid number 2 bursts into tears, and I'm like, oh my God, what did I just do to this kid? So they've taught me psychology. Everybody's like one way, like everybody has this ingrained character, but you can be molded by other people. You can change according to the environment. And I think with kids teach me how to deal with them differently, how to say things differently, approach them differently. I've been very fortunate that at my schools I've developed friendships with my colleagues. So a big part of my social life is my school buddies, my teaching colleagues. You as teachers, we talk about kids all the time. We talk about our jobs all the time. And in fact, it's a little intimidating if you're not a teacher to be at a dinner party where there's a lot of teachers, because we just take over the entire conversation. We're not supposed to have favorites. We're not supposed to have favorites. But as human beings, you obviously do have favorites, just as kids have favorite teachers. It's human nature. I have favorite colleagues. I don't have the same relationship with all of my colleagues. I don't like to be grateful for every single day, but just to enjoy every single day, to realize how lucky I am, how lucky I have been in my life. There's been a couple of glitches in my life. Everybody has to deal with certain things, but for the most part, I'm just a very, very lucky person.